welcome to another episode of Plant-Based Kristin. Tonight what we are doing, I actually have a lot going on, but what we're focusing on tonight are Portobello mushroom steaks and baked jalapeno peppers. So a bunch of my friends on Facebook have seen my baked jalapeno peppers and they had asked me for the recipe. The thing was though, I didn't actually get it from a recipe, I kind of made up my own. At the time that I made it, I was in the mood for them and I was trying to find a vegan version of it. And all of them required some sort of vegan cheese, and at that point I hadn't really found any vegan cheeses that I really liked, so I decided just to make up my own recipe. So basically what I do is I take the jalapeno pepper, I cut it in half, I scrape out all the membrane, and I just use like a small little serving spoon. Scrape out all the membrane and the seed, and then depending on how spicy you want it, you'll then add some of the seed and some of the membrane back in. I did a very small, thin layer because I'm making this for my dad, and he can handle a little bit of heat, but not as much as I can, I think. So I just did a very small layer of that first, then I did some onions, then I did some chopped up mushrooms, and then I did tomatoes. And those are in the oven right now. They have about 7 minutes left. I cook them at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. Then I take them out and I sprinkle breadcrumbs on top of them, and then I cook them for another 15 minutes. Just kind of brown the breadcrumbs and everything. And then I top them with vegan ranch, which we are going to make right now. So vegan ranch is actually really easy. I will throw that recipe in the comments as well when I upload this video. But basically, the only ingredients in the vegan ranch are vegan mayonnaise, unsweetened milk, and I use almond milk, unsweetened original almond milk. But you can use soy, you can use oats. There's a bunch of different types you can use. And then some onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, and parsley, and that's it in terms of the seasoning. So ranch is actually really easy to make, this vegan ranch. I'm gonna make it in this little bowl right here. Just so you guys can see what I've got going on here. And we're going to use a spoon. So the original recipe calls for 1 cup of vegan mayonnaise, half a cup of milk, and then a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of pepper, and then a bunch of parsley, which I just eyeball it. We're going to make a little bit more tonight though. The first time that I made this, I felt like the ranch was really watery, so I don't add as much almond milk as the recipe calls for, and I usually just measure in my hand. I use double the amount of garlic powder, because it's yummy with double the amount of garlic powder. We're going very light on the pepper, because my mom doesn't like too much pepper. And then when I add the almond milk, I'm going to be very careful about how much I'm adding here, because like I said, it was super watery the first time that I made it. So we're just going to start with a little bit here. And normally you would probably want to use a whisk for this. And if you notice, everything mixes super fast. Okay. And I like my ranch a little thicker, and I think that's pretty thick. That's a good consistency, I think. So now let's try it. It is delicious! I'm going to add just a little bit more. Touch more of both of these, and a little bit more parsley. And there is our vegan ranch, just like that, literally that fast. So we're going to put those on top of the jalapeno peppers. once everything is all done. So love it. It's super easy, delicious on salads. And I like them on the jalapeno poppers because they help cool it down a little bit because it is a little spicy. So let's talk about these Portobello mushroom steaks that I've got in. So preheat the oven to 400 degrees and then you let them marinate for about 15 minutes. The marinade that I have tonight, I put in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and then some garlic. So it calls for like a teaspoon of garlic, I think, but it also calls for a teaspoon of ginger. Well, I don't have ginger here at my parents', so I just did all garlic, but I'm sure it'd be delicious with the ginger as well. So I let them marinate for about 15 minutes, and then I stuck them in the oven, and they're cooking for their first 15 minutes. Then I'm going to flip them over, and if there's any of the balsamic soy sauce left, I'm then going to drizzle it on the bottom of the steaks, and then cook them for another 15 minutes. At that time, I'm going to take out my jalapeno poppers because I'm trying to cook everything all at once. I'm going to top them with the breadcrumbs, and then once the portobello mushrooms are done, they have to rest anyway for about 5 minutes. That's when I'll put in the jalapeno poppers. I'll turn the oven off, and I'll only put them in for about maybe 10 minutes with the breadcrumbs on it, just to brown the breadcrumbs a little bit. And so that's my plan with that. And then in addition to it, I'm also making a few other things for my parents. But we're kind of just doing a mixed bag dinner tonight because it's my last night here. So we're just trying to use up everything that we haven't used so that it doesn't go bad. But yeah, I've got about 1.5 minutes on those, and then I will show you what these jalapeno poppers look like. They're pretty fantastic. And then I'm making sauteed kale and cabbage, and I'm doing it very simple. I'm just going to saute them in a little bit of olive oil and then garlic. I like, for this anyway, big chunks of garlic. So I took maybe 3 huge cloves and kind of chopped them up into like big chunks, maybe the size of a dime, maybe. And I'm going to heat up the oil, throw the garlic in, and just kind of let it roast for maybe a couple of minutes. And then I'm going to throw the cabbage in, and then I'm going to throw the kale in. Kale actually cooks really quickly on the stove. Cabbage takes a little bit longer. So yeah, making a bunch of things tonight. 43 seconds on my mushrooms and my jalapenos. I have this huge thing of red cabbage that I wanted to use some of, and I didn't have a ton of kale, so I figured why not just add it to the kale, and we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to peel off the top layer here of the cabbage. I'm going to kind of roughly dice this a little bit. Take the stuff out of the oven. We're going to move. I'm also making corn, which corn on the cob is really easy. I just put it in the microwave and I cook it for 1.5 minutes per ear of corn. I find it retains a lot of the flavor that you would otherwise lose if you were to boil it, like most people do. These jalapeno poppers are going out for a minute. We're going to let them sit over here. Out of the way. So now, just so you guys can see how these turned out, we're going to flip them over. I want you guys to see this. Flip these bad boys over. Oh my god, they smell fantastic.
I'm pretty looking.
Hi, Mom. I'm recording, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome to be on camera if you'd like. You're good? I knew she'd say that. So I'm just spooning some of this. Most of it is pretty stuck on here. Hold on, let me try and grab a spatula. I may have better luck with a spatula. If my parents own one. Which they very well may not. So now we're going to put these back in the oven, 400 degrees still, for another 15 minutes. 15 minutes, start. Alrighty, so I've got my cabbage, I've got my kale, which, you know, I don't have a ton of kale left. And we're going to start cooking these. And then jalapeno poppers, we're going to top them with breading. Okay, so let's top them so that they're all ready for us here. I'm going to scooch this aside. Grab a mitt so I don't burn myself. Let me through the hot pan, Mom. Hot pan. I just dropped my onions. Okay. So you guys can see there's a lot going on over here. Got my vegan breadcrumbs. This is the type that I end up picking. I got them from Wegmans. And I used them for the lentil steaks that I made the other day, and they turned out really good. Okay, so we're just gonna sprinkle, and it's gonna get messy because it always does. Sprinkle some breadcrumbs on top of all this. Now, when you're making, if you ever mess with fresh jalapeno as opposed to the jarred stuff, it is very, very spicy. Even after cutting it, prepping it, you want to wash your cutting board, you want to wash your hands, you want to wash your knife before you prep anything else, or it's going to have that spice on everything. And that can be very painful, especially if people are not into spicy food. And do not rub your eye either for a while afterwards, because I've done that, and that is very painful. So yeah, like I said, there's just a little bit of the jalapeno membrane, and then onions on the bottom, then mushrooms, and then tomatoes. And that's what I use for my recipe. And then top it with that vegan ranch. Oh my goodness. And it turns out fantastic. These are kind of a lot of peppers. I don't know if we're probably not gonna eat all these tonight, I imagine. And I like the look of keeping the stems on some of them. You don't have to do that. I just think it looks really cool. Putting breadcrumbs and jalapenos. Alright, we got breadcrumbs on them all. And now, I did find this Gouda cheese that I really liked. Follow Your Heart Smoked Gouda. In case you did not watch my vegan wine and cheese episode, we tried a bunch of different types of cheese. And this was one of the few that I actually liked. I'm not a fan of most vegan cheeses I found. So, I'm kind of curious. But it cooked well in the vegan wine and cheese episode that we did. So I'm going to try some of this on some of the slices here. I'm just going to try and make them about the same size. We're going to eat that piece because I'm fit. Put this on a bigger one like that guy right there. Fold this a little bit. just curious to see how it's going to taste with some of this on there. And then we need this a little bit. Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out. We've got 9 minutes on the portobello mushroom steaks. I'm gonna go ahead and start the kale now. So I've got I have 8 tablespoons of oil sitting in the pan right now. It's super, super hot. So we're gonna add the cabbage in and the garlic at the same time. Cabbage does not take long to cook at all, and neither does kale. This is all really fast stuff that we've got going on here. My cheese fell. So I'm sauteing this, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm sauteing it on medium because it doesn't take long to cook at all. You might want to add a little bit more. We're going to add a little bit more cabbage. Peel off the outer edge. Breaking up the pieces of the head of cabbage that didn't break up, so everything cooks evenly. Start putting some stuff away. The garlic is also starting to roast, so that's nice. Now we're adding the kale. organic kale that I get from Aldi's. It's already rinsed and everything, which is nice because kale is a very dirty vegetable, so you would have to really make sure you clean it out well. For me, when I am cooking, when I'm prepping dirty vegetables, I usually let it soak in cold salt water for a while, and then I usually rinse it first, then let it soak in cold salt water, and then I rinse it again and let it soak in regular water. And make sure that when you are taking it out of the bowl, especially the first time when you have the salt water, make sure you pour it out and like clean it really good before you put the rinsed stuff back in there, or else you're going to get some of that dirt and grit that you work so hard to get off of the vegetable. That is pretty much done already. Kale and cabbage. Just like that. Let's try a piece of this kale. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Yummy. Alright. Turn this off. That's it. 2.5 minutes on our portobello mushrooms here. And then we're going to take the portobello mushrooms out. They need to sit for at least 5 minutes. So we're going to let them sit. Then I'm going to turn off the oven. I'm going to throw the jalapenos in for maybe 10 minutes. And then dinner will be ready. So just mixing up the ranch a little bit more. I can put away my vegetable stock bag, which is looking nice and full. So probably at some point next week, I'll show you guys how to make your own vegetable stock. It's super easy. For me, every maybe 3 weeks, I fill one of these bad boys up, and then I make my own vegetable stock and I freeze it. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen how much vegetable stock I make, and then I put it in my freezer. And that's the same thing that I do with the bag of the vegetables too, because if I didn't put them in the freezer, they'd probably go bad before I had time to fill up the bag itself. So every single time that I put something in there and I'm done using it, I then put it back in the freezer to keep it good for the 3 weeks that it takes for me to fill a new one up. Portobello mushrooms are just about done. we're turning the oven off. And then we're sticking these bad boys in for about 10 minutes. Hold on, I just lost some cheese. I'm going to re-cheese myself. Minutes on those. So, portobello steaks are sitting, they're going to chill for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to slice them up thinly, like you would a regular steak, and then get the jalapeno poppers out, and then everything will be ready, and then we can eat. So I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes. Alright, we're about to take the jalapenos out now. And then we are going to top them with ranch, and I've got a few scallions, so we're going to top it with some scallions that I have chopped up from before. And then dinner's ready. So I don't know if you guys are following me on Facebook as well. I think most of my subscribers are on my Facebook too, but just in case you aren't, like my Facebook page. I'm going to post some pictures actually tonight of some of the stuff that I made and the prep process so that you guys can see a little bit of it. In addition to the video. So the vegan cheese did not really melt really at all. So that's good to know. It melted when I put it in a quesadilla when I was cooking with my friend, but it did not melt tonight. So good to know. I'm going to transfer these over to a plate here so that I can top them with ranch dressing. Everything's super hot, so I'm trying to be careful here. You guys see what I'm doing? Kind of? Sort of? I'm going to put a few of the ones with the unmelted vegan cheese on here as well. It's pretty hot. Now we're going to top with the ranch here. Might as well use the same spoon. Let's get this out of the way. Throw this bad boy back up here. So you can see what I'm doing. Alright. Got my vegan ranch. Just do a little drizzle. There's also this really great nacho cheese that I discovered recently, and I kind of want to try them on here. I feel like that would be really good. Oops. And some scallion. Just going to kind of messily sprinkle this all over the place. And there they are, jalapenos. The ones with the vegan cheese do not look so hot. But alright guys, yeah, so I know we kind of did a lot tonight, so let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to post them in the comments. Also feel free to ask any questions on my plant-based Kristin Facebook page as well. And yeah, let me know if there are any ideas you want me to try. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the techniques that I used tonight. And yeah, I post a new episode every Wednesday, and I'll see you guys next week, and I hope you have a fantastic evening.